Hello, my name is Matthew, and I started reading *100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Márquez. I'll show you my copy. And I'm already halfway through the book, but I wanted to tell you that there is a terrific read along going on right now, and it has a whole group of great BookTube colleagues, really interesting um, great people that have really good channels, and I just want to read off a couple of names of people that are reading this book. And if you check out their videos, you'll see all the activities and things that they have lined up. So Noah from Everyone Who Reads Must Converse. Uh, he has a great channel, really interesting and entertaining. Has a contagious or an infectious enthusiasm. Ami from Ivan's Nightmare. It's a great channel. We've talked several times um, in Zoom chats now as well. Um, Danny from Spinelli Speaks. Una from the Codex Cantina, so those guys are involved. Dostoevsky in Space, and Summer from Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats, another just great channel. They're all welcoming, inviting, thoughtful uh, booktubers, making great, interesting videos. And so there's a read along going on 100 Years of Solitude, and I've read, like I said, I've read about half of the book now, and I really am not acquainted with Latin American literature um, in general. I've never read anything by Marquez before. This is my first. Um, this is my introduction, um, and it's a really interesting reading experience, especially with how highly regarded this novel is. I've heard people talk about it for years. I always see this book out on the tables at bookstores, um, and almost to universal acclaim. It's just supposed to be um, this amazing book, and so I didn't know what to expect, and um, I'm actually really surprised with um, what kind of book it is, the structure of the book, the tone, and even the story that's being related. So it begins with this either like an island or a land that may or may not actually exist. It feels fantastical, um, and we learn about this the beginning of a family. It's a husband and wife, and they have children. The book has, if you can see that, a family tree that you're given before you even start the book, and um, it has a vague time in which it is set, so that at what point in human history that this story is taking place, it feels a little fuzzy. We can kind of pinpoint, we can get where it is, but not specifically. And um, it begins with this series of episodes that happen, and it's this band that keeps encountering a band of gypsies that are bringing in new technological achievements. So one of the first things that we see are these magnets, and then later on, the gypsies come back with a lens, and so on. And then we have Jose, who is really enthusiastic with these new gadgets or technological marvels, but he's misunderstanding and misapplying them. He's trying to um, come up with these new ideas, and they keep backfiring. So he's trying to use a metal detector to find gold, and it doesn't work. And he wants to um, use a lens to make some sort of military weapon, and it doesn't work. And it gets so bad that one of the gypsies is even warning him that he's making bad financial decisions. And it must be bad when the gypsy is the responsible one in this transaction. And we have this guy who's industrious, he's experimenting and trying things, and it's a succession of failures. He can't get anything right. He goes off to become an explorer. He gets lost in this kind of magical forest, and it was around this point in the book that things start getting really strange. And what I started realizing, um, magical realism is something that comes up often, and I'm not too familiar with that genre. So I only have the things that I've read that I can pull together as references. And I started thinking that this place that the story is set reminds me of one of the places that Gulliver might have traveled to, Gulliver's Travels, or Candide when he was Voltaire's Candide when he was traveling around the world and went to El Dorado. And the other thing that was surprising and quite remarkable is um, the novel has this um, uh, that historical summarization that you find in the Old Testament, and um, it's fast paced. This is a chronicle. It's a chronicle um, of events, and it's this really fast succession of people and places and events. And when it starts getting magical and fantastical, and um, action starts happening, it gets to such a high pitch and just does not let up. We do have these gypsies coming back, and it went from maybe giving things that could be beneficial and enlightening to civilization, like magnets and lenses and ice. And then they come back with things for amusement. And then finally, we have weapons of war. And so there's like these parallels of what does humankind do with the things that they invent. Now, it's so fast paced and has so many crazy, fantastical elements that move by so fast. I hardly have time to get my bearings on what's happening. So things like little children are being born with pigtails, and somebody gets speared to death through the throat, but then they they're dead, but they're still alive. They're still and there's other things like this where um, fanciful, imaginative um, activities, and it's incredibly imaginative and creative. Um, but trying to keep track of what's happening in this book so far would be like trying to recognize the faces through a window of a moving train, and you just see cars of train cars going by at a racing speed, and I can see the windows and catch glimpses of these faces, but it's at such a rapid pace that it's nearly a blur. Now, uh, I'm enjoying it as a curiosity that some of the um, issues that I have is that it is so fast that I'm not um, emotionally connected to any of the characters. We're already going through generations. Um, the events are almost incidental. Before we're even concluding with um, one disastrous episode, we're already into the next one. Uh, the other thing that it reminded me of was the stories in A Thousand and One Nights, where uh, there's little short stories, 2 4-page short stories that are full of all sorts of imaginative and creative details and interesting events and creatures and things like that. It has that same uh, rapidity, um, but it doesn't have clear um, payoffs or punchlines or conclusions. It just it's like a racing train. It just keeps going forward. Um, it's highly readable. I'm amazed that I'm reading it so quickly, and it's impressive how constant this pitch is throughout the book. It just hit a certain speed, and it's just charging. Um, so I'm halfway through the book, and I'm very curious to see um, how all of these events and stories and people and interactions, um, how they all gel together or come together, or if they do, um, what's the overarching story? And I'm not sure yet, but I'm still very interested. So yeah, that's it. I'm halfway through um, 100 Years of Solitude by Márquez, and I'm going to leave links to all of the channels that I mentioned. Noah and Ami, and, Danny, Una, Christy, Summer. If you're interested in reading this book and talking about it and watching videos and having discussions and things like that, there's a whole bunch of great people that are reading the book and doing just that. So check all those out if you're interested, and subscribe. Um, so those are some of my thoughts so far on the book. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment if you would like. And thank you for watching, and take care. Bye.